Yo, what's up everybody? Professor V here, and it's out with the old, in with the new. These are the major differences and changes from AP Style 6th edition to the 7th edition. Let's go. The American Psychological Association introduced the 7th edition of the APA Publication Manual, in which replaces the 6th edition published in 2009. There are several notable changes in paper formatting, in-text citations, and references. There's also some additional guidelines that were revised regarding grammar and bias-free language. Let's quickly go over some of these changes. The amount of chapters have expanded from 8 chapters to 12 chapters, and a few topics were moved around. Chapter 1 addresses different types of papers, including quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method articles, in addition to literature reviews, theoretical articles, and methodological articles from previous editions. Also, it addresses student papers, dissertations, and theses. The student papers listed here are types of papers written typically at the undergraduate level, while dissertations and theses are typically written by graduate students. However, if you're an undergraduate or graduate student, please always be sure to check with your university or professors if there are any additional guidelines you must follow. Chapter 2 provides information on formatting and organizing the paper. There are now 2 types of title pages, one for professionals and one for students. The running head no longer requires a text running head for professional papers, and a running head is no longer required at all for student papers. It also clarifies which fonts that may be used to allow for accessibility for all users. Sans serif fonts that may be used include 11-point Calibri, 11-point Arial, or 10-point Lucida Sans Unicode. Serif fonts includes 12-point Times New Roman or 11-point Georgia. Level 3, 4, and 5 headings have been simplified to promote accessibility. Level 3 headings are now flush with the left margin, bolded, and italicized. Level 4 headings are indented, bolded, end with a period, and then the text starts directly afterwards. Level 5 headings are indented, bolded, italicized, and end with a period, and then the text starts directly afterwards. Chapter 3 familiarizes writers on journal article reporting standards, or JARS, and now explains them for qualitative and mixed methods research. Chapter 4 offers better use of grammar, especially how to use the word they. The singular they or their is now endorsed as a gender-neutral pronoun. For example, instead of saying, when a Kryptonian comes into contact with kryptonite, he or she is weakened. Now you say, when a Kryptonian comes into contact with kryptonite, they are weakened. Also use they as a generic third-person singular pronoun to refer to a person whose gender is unknown or irrelevant. Chapter 5 updates the guidelines for using bias-free language to encourage authors to write about others with inclusivity and respect. It also acknowledges that language changes with time and that writers must make an effort to determine what is appropriate for a study or paper. It updates the best practices when using language to refer to people of other ages, disabilities, gender, racial and ethnic identity, and sexual orientation. Chapter 6 addresses the mechanics of style, such as punctuation, capitalization, abbreviation, numbers, and statistics within the text. It clarifies that authors are to use one space after periods at the end of sentences unless an instructor or publisher requests otherwise. This wasn't as clear in the 6th edition. Chapter 6 goes into further depth of the capitalization of proper nouns, names of disorders and diseases, and job titles. For example, do not capitalize the names of disorders such as major depressive disorder. Only capitalize disorders that have a proper noun attached to it, such as Alzheimer's disease or Korsakoff syndrome. Chapter 7 covers tables and figures and guidance on creating them. There are over 40 different examples to aid authors in formatting their visual aids. Chapter 8 addresses changes for in-text citations and expands upon plagiarism, self-plagiarism, and unethical writing practices. In-text citations have been revised. Works cited with 1 or 2 authors remain the same. Works with 3 or more authors are simplified, only needing to state the first author followed by ETAL and the year of publication. This also includes the first time in which you cite the reference in your text. There are additional guidelines for paraphrasing and some examples of paraphrasing to show how to be clear without over-citation. Chapter 9 presents changes to the reference list formatting. The number of authors in a reference that should be listed has been increased to 20 before authors are omitted by using an ellipsis. For DOIs, they no longer are succeeded with the text DOI, but are now presented as hyperlinks. The words retrieve from is only used when a retrieval date is also needed. Retrieval dates are needed when the information may change, such as on web pages. Chapter 9 also provides more details and formatting for annotated bibliographies. Annotated bibliographies are often student papers in which the reference in APA style is provided by short descriptions of the information called annotations. Always be sure to check with your instructor on what they require in their annotation. Chapter 10 shows examples of over 100 reference examples. Templates are given for every reference category, such as journal articles, magazines, newspapers, blogs, editorials, books, religious works, ancient works, reports, conference sessions, presentations, unpublished works, videos, and even social media posts. However, please be warned, just because there's a way to cite these types of sources doesn't mean you should. Always check with your instructor to verify what is the type of source that is acceptable. Don't go citing any of my YouTube videos if they're not an approved source. You have been warned. Chapter 11 covers additional references and provides examples for legal references such as legal cases or court decisions, statutes, legislative material, constitution, and charters, etc. Lastly, Chapter 12. Chapter 12 covers the publication process. It gives guidance to young researchers and students to adapt their theses or dissertations into a journal article to be published in a scholarly journal. This also helps with choosing which scholarly journal to try to publish in and avoid deception from other publishers. And that's it. Those are some of the changes and topics covered in the new APA publication manual. So thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful or informative, hit the like button, subscribe if not already, and I will see you in the next one.